Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Walking with the Master. And you know, this is all about our beloved teacher. It's about him. The essence is about him, Dr. Moses Powell. But in truth, this is the legacy that he has left. And it's walking with those who have walked with him and those who have touched him, studied him, looked at him, been blessed by him. So without any further delay, I want you to know that I am Grandmaster Abdul Aziz Muhammad, formerly known as Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad, and I have a tremendous guest on the line on this podcast that is here for you. And this guest is not, again, just somebody. You know, he's not just someone who is great in what he does, committed to what he does, but he is a friend of mine. He is a brother of mine. He is someone who I care about and is a proficient martial artist, as you will understand. So now we want to have this walk with him. Grandmaster Malik Shabazz. How you doing, my brother?
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me on. It's always a pleasure, as you already know. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Man, no problem, no problem. It is absolutely something that is just and due. And I appreciate your accepting to be on. You know, it's just like accepting a call. You know, sometimes you can look at the phone and say, "Oh, no, I don't want to talk to him." But you know, being accepted is really a blessing. So thank you for accepting this opportunity to come on and talk to the family here. You know, so my brother, man. You know how it is. We know how to walk on the mat. You know, sometimes I have a little difficulty having conversation, but no, I'm happy to have you here, and I want to just get to what we normally get to, and that is the root. You know, where did you come from? How did you get started? Who started you? All of that kind of good stuff. Could you please share? And you can just continue on as you would like. All right.
My initial starting was in elementary school. I grew up in the Bronx, and my teacher's name at the time was one of the students that was in the school with me. Actually, his name is Tommy Lau, and his parents owned a laundromat that you used to take like your clothes to get starched up. And his father was teaching him, so I happened to see him get into a little fight, and two guys jumped him in the schoolyard, and I seen him do some work, and to me that I was blown away. And it initially just started from that point on. Even though his father was teaching him, he was training me. And it just so happened that he started training me, conditioning, knuckle push-ups, we was hitting bricks, all of the craziness. And it just escalated from that time on. So as we went to school, and I used to live in the projects in Castle Hill at the time. So his parents' cleaners was in the projects off on the side street. So that's how we connected every single day, when my parents allowed me to. So that was ongoing throughout elementary school. This was 1968. And this continued into junior high school, 125 in the Bronx, where I grew up as well. And I met a gentleman by the name of Ruben Morales, who had incredible legs. And I started training with one of his students, was a green belt at the time. I was living in the project. And I was so enthusiastic about becoming, like painting a picture and seeing where I'm getting ready to take it. And I was also, running track at the time, and I was playing basketball. My nickname was Pearl at the time, following Earl of Pearl Monroe.
Come on, yeah. Everybody don't know about that, but go ahead.
Down the Knickerbockers back in the days. And, so I was always in the athletic field. My brothers were as well. And but once I locked into that kick punch thing at the time, man, it was it was never an ending stop. Eating, sleeping, literally this. My moms and my father used to think I was out of my mind because, when my friends in junior high school was out and, playing basketball and enjoying the summer out of school, I was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I was outside kicking from one end to the other. I was just obsessed. I used to come home, take a nap. This was 5 in the morning. I come home, take a nap. I used to take my mother's mirror, put it up on one of the chairs in the living room and just, work literally 100 kicks, 500 slow with one leg, then 500 fast. I just was just sick. And it continues to this very day that I love to train. I have a passion for it, like I'm just starting, and from there I went to, Lamarr Thorton. Mr. Lamarr Thornton. I was with him for a long time. That's when I started getting into the tournament field and lost a lot of fights. But I used to just come right back the next day and train, the next day, just sort of a sickness, and that escalated. And then here we go. I met Master Little John Davis. And, everything just exploded, if you will, at that moment. And, the training with Master Little John was super exceeding where I wanted to be, because although there were people there downstairs training with Kaijo at the time, long before I was in the dojo on 123rd Street, when I came down to Kaijo, I wasn't just a Tuesday, Thursday student. I was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's just, Kaijo worked in the Board of Ed, for the Board of Ed. And when I got off of work, he'd get off of work, he'd hit me. I'm in the dojo, either banging the maki wall, I'm hitting the bag, I got the mats laid out, the floor is swept, mop. And it just went on and on and on until this very day. And then, of course, there were periods that I happened to experience Dr. Powell himself. And I think one of the greatest times was when you had the Worlds Collide, brother, coming down there on Sundays. That was the ultimate, that was the ultimate. Yes, so I just, to be touched by Master Little John first and foremost, and then to be touched by Doc, man, it was just, I can't even find words because I still live it to this very day,
yes.
And so for me, when you get touched by these great individuals, you got to take what they've given you and expand on it. You don't just stop there. You take it and you just keep going for the moon, And so to this very day, that's what I'm striving to do. Take what they've given me and expel on it. Just keep going.
Awesome. Let me ask you. I mean, that's really great. Let me ask you. Let's go back to the young person that
Tommy Lau.
Tommy Lau.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember his father's name?
I didn't know because they didn't speak very much English. Okay. The parents, they were from the old school, so. I used to did
he ever work with you at all? The parent?
I never got the chance to get touched by him because I think, because of the language barrier.
Yes.
And his son was able, of course, to speak English. So I was just happy to get what I could through his son.
No, that's excellent. Excellent. Because I'm just in looking at, teachers, right? So Mr. Lamarr, Kaijo, talk about him a little bit. How was he, in relationship with you and the beauty of what you got from him and how he helped you in those early days?
Master Lamarr Thornton, when I got with him about maybe 1977, 78, somewhere around that time. And when I met him, we just connect. I was training under him, his tutelage, and of course we were doing Shotokan Karate at that time. But as you know, he was also a student of Kaijo and Dr. Powell as well. So I got a little taste of the jujitsu, but it was more so focused at that particular time on Shotokan, getting the katas, the sparring, you can get in tournament, get my feet wet in the tournaments, and that pretty much thing. So I was with Lamarr for wow, I can't even remember how many years. Just we was down in the Y on 135th Street back then. And it wouldn't be nothing for us to stay there until like 11, 12 o'clock midnight. I'm talking about on a regular basis, just sparring. And we used to go to different dojos throughout Harlem, and they used to come to the Y as well. And we used to just have like good competitive fighting, and it was sharpening them, and it was sharpening us as well. And that's how the tournament, myself personally, that's how I started to get acclimated to the point system, and how to sharpen up, and it just escalated from that point. And then one time we was at a tournament ran by the late great barber, Master Fred Hamilton,
yes,
out when he had the Battle of the Zodiacs. And that's when the official Kaijo Shabazz connection happened. And he was in a ring, and I know I say this all the time because it's still, I still look back and I can laugh. He was Chief Simbong in the ring, and I guess one of the students that was in the ring didn't appreciate what he did or how he said what he said or whatever, but he attacked Kaijo, and all I saw was the guy's feet going up in the air, and Kaijo was over him doing work, and I guess one of his dojo brothers came and put his arm around Kaijo's neck, and all I saw was his feet up in the air. And it was an exciting thing to see. And I was up in the bleachers watching, so after that took place, I went to Mr. Lamarr Thorton, and I asked for his blessings to go and train with him. And it's everything else is just, it's history.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still with him.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So talk about next, Soke Little John. Talk about him and the kind of training that he gave you, and what did that do for you?
Kaijo Little John, when I went to his school on 123rd Street, first it was in Teachers College in Columbia.
That's right.
And that's where I started with him, and he didn't stay there very long. And at that point, Kaijo was teaching, I believe it was Tuesday and Thursdays for adults, and then Friday and Saturday for kids and or adults if they opted to come. And when I came under Master Little John's tutelage, what I did is I opened the dojo on Mondays and Wednesdays as well. So I was training Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes on Saturdays I was at the time. And this went on. I mean, I could honestly say that I might have, in 30 plus years, I probably missed maybe a month, and that was probably going on vacation or being ill or having some surgery or something. I could honestly say that because I lived literally in the school. And it was to the point where, like I said, when Kaijo got off of work, he in the bag, hitting the makiwara, or somebody that came down, early. I'll be working with them. It was just ongoing. I mean, I loved it. As I'm sitting here in this chair, brother, talking with you, my passion is through the roof. I really, really love doing what I do to this day. And so Kaijo just took my fighting ability to another level, but my jujitsu, man, the jujitsu was, I'm trying to find a proper word. His skill level, as you well know, is supersedes, he's a master of many masters. And so his going to him and training on the days when there were no classes was the thing that I really appreciated, because I really was able to get beat up, but in a good way,
Right.
And it was when you relocated, brother, that I became that uke. I sort of filled your shoes in that uke position. And it was very it was a learning lesson on so many levels, And to this very day, I just, I wish I could still be thrown. my training with Kajo Littlejohn, we were doing the dojo from Monday through Saturday. And I was teaching for him on Mondays, Wednesdays, and he was teaching on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So I used to be in the dojo with him up like Monday through Friday, basically, week in, week out. And this continued for, till he relocated, actually. And after he relocated to Florida, I took over his dojo for him, and I was running it up until the time that I relocated. So it's been a long process of Kumite Ryu and Sanuki's Ryu and Vijitsu Te. Yes, sir.
I mean, that was excellent. And just thinking about 123rd Street, we had some real nice times down there.
Yes, we did.
Man, excellent. Now, just while we were there and whatnot, and we talk about the tournaments, let's touch a little bit about tournaments.
Okay.
Tell me, because you were a major, you were strong in the tournament arena, and man, we definitely gotta show, one of them pictures, man, because you had such a stretch that was ridiculous. You talk about that earlier training that you had, they had all those legs and whatnot, but you had legs like crazy. So you were in the tournament scene. Tell me a little bit about how that was for you, tournament and fighting in the tournament scene.
My tournament fighting, like I said, it took a while because I used to go in and I was losing, and I'd go back and train. I lost, I went back and train. And as time went on and the training continued, I became better at it. And I started taking grand champions in first place in the middleweight division on a regular basis. And I had quite a extensive fighting with some major individuals, like Thunderfoot Curitan, that from Jersey, he trained with Master Jeter.
Yes.
I fought a brother named Michael Husbands. He was one of the students of Kyokushin back then that was training with Master William Oliver.
Yes.
I trained and I fought with Shijo Mataka Bear. I fought with Billy Blanks. I fought with Timax. I fought, just to name a few individuals.
Yes.
And they made me better. I went into and did some katas here and there throughout, but my forte was more, mixing it up, And then, of course, I started going into the self-defense divisions, and fared pretty well in that as well. So, but the training in terms of sparring and going into the point system, I did a couple of bare knuckle tournaments also. That was something I liked and enjoyed because you didn't have to pull back, and at that time, you didn't have no safety kicks and all of that. I think one of my best tournaments that I can think of, besides Mr. Barber, Mr. Fred Hamilton, when he had the Battle of the Zodiacs, was Mr. Louis Delgado. He had a tournament in Stevenson High School back in the early or middle 90s, and he had a bare knuckle one as well. Only thing you could put on was your mouthpiece and a groin cup. And I fought in the middleweight division at the time, and I won that. And at Master Hamilton's tournament, he used to have the Battle of the Zodiac. So there was no weight requirement there. Whatever your sign was, you fought in it. And that was really a good fight. And I took the Pisces division at the time. And that's how Mr. Shijo Mataka Bear and I matched up at his tournament, for just to name a few.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
I mean, and those were serious names in our industry. So that's
yes.
Awesome. And it was really good back then because and when you talk about not having to pull back in the bare knuckle fights, I mean, when you talk about today's fights, the regular tournament would have been looked at as full contact, to today's fighters.
Yes.
The way it goes and how, it's called when it's close to you. You know what I mean? They call close when I remember being a youngster, you had to make them show the movement. Like if you hit them in the body and they didn't move, it's like they would even say, not enough, you want to continue. And we'd be fighting forever, you know, back in those days. So let's move to some of your experiences with Doc. What kind of man was he to you?
Doc to me was like a living legend. You know, his reputation preceded him. Yeah. And and Doc was always that individual that made people around him feel special. Yeah. So, you know, I ate that up because at one particular time in the 90s, my father had made his transition. And, you know, Doc had grabbed me around the neck. We was at Dave Herbert's dojo. He was at a seminar in Houston Street. And he, you know, put his arm around me, whispered in my ear, your father's gone, but, you know, I'm going to be here for you. And that's something that I took in personally. And, you know, like I said, the most gratifying experience that I can think of when it comes to Doc was at the Worlds Collide, brother. And thinking about it, when you had the Greats of the Martial Arts in Brooklyn, right, that was a special time for me as well with Doc, you know, because you being in the back of the stage and cracking jokes and, you know, all of those kind of things, you know, those are things that last for me with forever. You know, it was special moments, you know, it's things that you just can't get back. And just, you know, when I reflect on Doc and I think about his personality, you know, either he loved you or he can flip that script on you. And I just happen to be on that good side, which I'm so appreciative of. Yes, sir.
Man, that's beautiful. Man, today's martial arts, yesterday's martial arts. Mm-hmm. What is the distinguishing factors that you see in the situation today and yesterday?
Yesterday, you know, when I was coming through the ranks, just to be called sensei was, you know, that was profound. That was, you know, something to really honor and treasure. And, you know, it was something that you had to work up towards to get there. So when you got there, you ran through the cold, so to speak, you ran through the fire. And when you got there, you were so appreciative and you earned that. I think that, you know, now looking at, I just saw something the other day, you know, as a kid, we used to go down, sneak into the movie theaters down on 42nd Street and watch the Chinese movies, right? And they used to have these titles that was like Supreme Grandmaster and Great Grandmaster and, you know, everything you could think of. And now, as an adult, I'm looking and these people are calling themselves Great Grandmasters and Supreme Grandmasters. And I'm just waiting for the 15th the 15th dawn to come through next, you know, because, you know, I think people are speeding to get to a place. And then when they get to that place, they looking around because they have nothing to offer. You know, one of the things that's most proficient as a human being, I believe, especially as a martial artist, is taking your time. You know, when the time is given to you, when the time is right, and you put your dues in, you know, you won't have to call yourself all of these names. You know, it's not what you call yourself. It's what other people think of you and the way you carry yourself that's most important to me. So, you know, when it comes to the people with the titles and the belts and the ranks, everybody's, how could you be the same rank as your big brother? You know, how could you be the same rank as the teacher that taught you? How could you carry the same title that the people that came before you are carrying? How could that happen? So, you know, it has totally became a cesspool with the titles and the belts and stuff. And a lot of the people that haven't earned it, they giving the martial arts a bad name. And they you know, particularly the ones that haven't earned it, and they took pictures, let's say with Dr. Powell. A lot of guys I know took pictures with him, and now they got it posted all over their dojo walls. And they putting videos out because he took pictures with you, or he might have used you for uke that particular day. Now you're his student. That's, you know, and the sad thing, you know, even though I don't have anything to do with that part of it, is that people like yourself, brother, and a host of others, Kaijo, and a host of other individuals that earned that right, you know, are being, I won't say being undermined, because everybody knows the legitimacy of those like yourself and Kaijo and other few brothers. But these individuals that are coming along and they're trying to undermine, you know, the people that are legitimately there. And it's a sad thing. It really is, you know. And from my personal experience, just being around, you know, yourself and Kaijo and Dr. Powell, you know, like I said, at different events and Worlds Collide particularly, you know, it wasn't, I didn't see any of those people there. I didn't see any of those individuals. So, you know, where did they come from? You know, it's such a huge difference going to seminars and being an uke for a day or two, or maybe, you know, a couple of minutes. And initially you just think that Doc is using you like he did anybody else as a uke, just to demonstrate a technique maybe. And now you took it to the different level. And I think that it has undermined some of the work that y'all have put in progress, you know, sadly.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you know, really it's about martial arts. I was just when I was teaching last night or yesterday, I was teaching, and you know, one of the things that I was talking about is martial arts, you know, because I was saying that martial arts, we should be studying martial arts. And of course, there are specific things that we get into, but if we, you know, everyone can say we study martial arts. No matter a Taekwondo man can say we study martial arts, but everybody can't say we study Taekwondo.
Right.
You know, everybody can't say we study jiu-jitsu. Everybody can say we study Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but everyone can say we study martial arts. And you see, just from that perspective, it opens it up. And I've mentioned what I was talking about last night is it's like churches. Everybody is supposedly teaching the word of God.
Yes, sir.
But they have different names for their churches, and then they have trouble with the churches. You know, First Church of God in Christ may be troubled with, you know, this other particular, but everybody's supposed to be teaching the word of God as opposed to, so we should be under that. So martial arts is what we should be doing. So when we do that, then we don't have to worry about, you know, all of this rank stuff.
Right.
I didn't ask. We didn't ask to be what we are. I'm grateful. But if I had never been today, I would not even be trying to say it, because it's the mat that tells the story.
Yes.
You know, and what we need to do also, and I'm mentioning this because I think it's a good time, and that is to talk about unity. You see, we need to be together more than we need to be apart.
Yes.
While we are fighting, having nothing, others that's not a part of us are having everything.
Yes.
So, you know, again, you know, I've done this before and I'll do it again, and I'm offering for all of us to come together so that we can build a stronger union and body. And you know what I have to do too? I was just with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan a few days ago, and he asked about the martial artists. He says, how are they doing? How is everything? You know, it's a broad question, you know what I mean? But I just want to share that and say that because all of you out there that's listening, the minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is concerned and cares because he knows that there is so much for us to offer to our communities. He's specifically and many times instructed me and asked us to help the women, teach the sisters to do all of these things. So I just wanted to mention that part before we move on, because, you know, I don't want to take anything from you. And in fact, I'm not going to take nothing from you, because we got as much time as we want and you can give. So let's go here in terms of today's, you know, you talked about today's master or martial artists and some of the masters. What are some of the things that you suggest that we do? You know what? Let me backtrack. I want to go now into streetology. Okay. That's what I want to go into.
Okay.
I want you to talk about streetology today. Streetology jiu-jitsu. It's on you.
Streetology jiu-jitsu is just my painting, if you will. The backbone of streetology jiu-jitsu, the spine, is Kumite-Ryu jiu-jitsu. What I've done is I've taken Kumite-Ryu jiu-jitsu and I've sort of enhanced it a little bit, not made it better. There's no such word as better, but I made it conducive for me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because of the injuries that I've sustained through the years. And because things are not as fluent in terms of my flexibility and things of that nature, I had to come up with something that would work for me in the street. And it's it all started when in 1990 when I got accosted by two men. I was in Harlem. I was on my way home. It was summertime, and I was on the park. I lived on 141st Street in Hamilton Terrace. And as I'm walking home one summer night, you know, there was two individuals walking towards me, and I didn't pay it any mind. But when we got shoulder to shoulder, they one of them punched me in my face, dropped me to my knees. I had on glasses, of course, and split my eye. And, you know, I got up and I did what I had to do, and I was successful. But I wanted to be able to shorten it. In other words, I wanted to work with the less is more principle. So what I've done with streetology jiu-jitsu, right? I've included some of the nervous system striking and or pressure points. I've included headbutts, eye gorges, knees. I've conditioned my shins and my fingertips to be able to be destructive. You know, the most peaceful person in the world is one that is most violent. Now, having a good knuckle game and being violent is a huge difference, right? Because if somebody attacks you and, you know, you dip and you knock him out, his friends could look and they could relate to that. But if somebody attacks you and you take his lip and rip it off his face, you know, or you take his eye and you put your finger in it and you twist it, or if somebody, because we live in an MMA world, right? Somebody takes you down to the ground, you know, and when you let him come up, you can see his teeth right straight through his face, right? Because you did what they call Kenumutai, which is a Philippine art. And it's as gory as it sounds. You know, if you're, you know, stopping at a store, you know, 1 o'clock at night and you have your kids in the car and somebody's trying to snatch them out, I'm not thinking about, you know, hitting you in your chin and knocking you out, right? I'm thinking about sending you and the people that sent them or is with them a message, so that every time they even contemplate doing something of that nature, they just feel their face or their leg is, they can't walk properly anymore, you know, and as violent as it might seem, that's the world we living in. So streetology jiu-jitsu, I narrow it down to like some real vicious strikes. And it's not just for males, it's the male and female thing. I've also included strike and flight. The strike and flight is strictly for women, because for me, I believe that just being able to get a man off of you as opposed to like destroying him is two different things. If you can get a man to get his grasp off of you, take his knee out and then, run in the opposite direction and yell fire, fire, fire. If you yell fire, everybody's going to come out and look, because they might think it's their house. But if you yell help, help, and the only thing that's going to happen, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to pull out their cameras and want to take pictures. So, I think that, from 1968, 1975, 1990, 2021, we have to evolve, in it, not only in our training, but in our ways of teaching it. And so that's where Streetology Jitsu is for me. I happen to make it a less is more principle, where we can be more destructive with less movement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that's awesome. How are things going?
Since the pandemic, it has really been slow.
Yes.
Excuse me. What I've done is I teach out of my garage, and I call it the lab. Learn to adapt, to breathe. And what I've done is I teach maybe 2 or 3 people, or one at a time. And what I found in terms of that, in that principle, as opposed to teaching in the dojo like I used to be, now I can teach people as an individual. So, if a person's 5'5" or another person is 6'5", I can teach them to be able to work with what they have, their proper tools. And if I had that person that's 5'5" and 6'5" in the dojo, and we're all mixed in together, even though I can get them to train properly, because I have, this way I can give them his tools that'll work specifically for that individual. If I have a person that's 50 years old and they come in and they want to train, I can take them to a place where they won't be fearful of injury. They won't be fearful. I spoke to some older individuals, and as soon as you make jujitsu, their hands come up, like eyebrow raised, and they don't want to participate a lot of times because they thinking of the rolls and the falls. And so I think that, 2021, we need to find a way. 2022, I stand corrected. We need to adapt and find a better way to teach people that can be able to get to from point A to point B faster. That's just my take on it.
Well, well, your take is a good take, because it is definitely better to get to that destination faster.
Yes, sir.
The longer you take, the more opportunity somebody else may have.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
that's awesome. And do you have any thoughts on expanding the system of Streetology Jitsu?
Yes, I have a couple of brothers in New York, a couple in Jersey. And, like what Streetology is not something that you want to open up a dojo and teach, right? Streetology Jitsu is something that after you finish teaching class, you might have about 4 or 5 people that are exceptionally different in terms of not like paying the light bill, let's say, right? And they willing to get that dirt in. You turn the lights down and then you take them in the back, and that's what Streetology Jitsu is. It's not going to be applicable for everybody, because not everybody's going to can accept the violence. Not everybody's going to accept the conditioning, and there's all different levels. You come in at the level that you want. A lot of people run away from me when they see the sledgehammer come out, or I'm hitting the monkey bar brick. But
Yes.
That's just me. I don't push that on nobody else.
Right.
They got to understand that I didn't start here. This is something that took years to develop, and a person might not want to go there, and I'm fine with that. The most important thing to me, and I think you said it best, brother, if I can remember it correctly. Mr. V said there's 3 sins, and I don't remember verbatimly the way they go, but I believe one is if you don't train and you let somebody attack you and bring harm to you, you're causing I forgot the term, brother. You're flipping on me.
Yes.
But I sort of can relate to that. Everybody should have something to go home with at night. There's no reason that we should not be training as a people, particularly just for health, just for, if you're with your children, if you're with your wife, if your wife's with the children, we should be comfortable and not panicking. When somebody comes to us, we should be able to foresee the movement coming before it comes.
Yes.
And if you train in scenarios, I think if it'll put you in a place where you can be able to be comfortable. You know, like somebody, I call these things verbal entries. Verbal entries, one, you got one with the person to come up to you, excuse me, mister, you have the time? And as you're looking at your watch or you're checking your phone, they're steadily entering into your space. Then you have the other verbal entry where they're calling you all kind of names, calling your mother names. And as they're pointing in your face and they're doing this, they're coming into your space again. And your heart's racing. But if we train in these type of scenarios, we can, when that time comes, it won't be new to us. We still like, yeah, we've been here before. Yeah. So I think, you know, in terms of training, we have to like put into some, in other words, if somebody wrist grabs me, I'm not going to leave my wrist out for them to grab so I can put them in a lock. Human instinct, if someone reaches for my wrist, I'm going to pull back because that's just human instinct. You know, if somebody throws a punch, you know, human instinct is going to make us, we want to cover. But, you know, what I do in Streetology, right? If somebody throws a punch, attack the attack. Because just like they can throw us off, we can attack them and throw them off as well, because they only human beings. You know, if they're I tell people, if somebody gets on a train and they look crazy, they got scars all over their face, their hands are all disfigured and they look sick. The first thing we're going to do is panic, and we're going to say, oh my God, I hope he doesn't come over here to me. Mm-hmm. Instead, we should be thinking, wow, man, this guy, his blocking system is off. Because if he got that many scars on his face, something's wrong with him. He don't know how to defend himself. You know, so it's the way that we think about things that can differentiate our survival. Yeah. You know, so that's just, you know, some of my thoughts.
I love it. I love it. You know what it reminds me of is the movie that was made off of the, well, it was the Magnificent Seven, right?
Yes, sir.
Magnificent Seven, and now it's an offshoot actually of a Japanese film, but when they did it in America, you know, they always stealing something, you know, but nonetheless, when they did it in America, it was I forget the name of the actor, but this particular actor, great actor. And he was looking to galvanize the other six to go and help this particular town. Mm-hmm. And so this Mexican guy was taking him around, and he took him to a bar, to a saloon. And this guy, he's making all this noise, and he's grabbing people, throwing them around, but he's got a nice scar on his face. And while you know, so after he beats up this other guy, and he's the Mexican guy says, "What do you think about him? This is who I was bringing you to see." He says, he looks okay, but I want the one who gave him the scar.
Yes.
So that reminds me of what you're saying.
Yes.
That was great. Yes, that was great. So talk to me about, you know, where you think the martial arts should go as a whole now, not just yourself, but martial arts as a whole. What should the martial artists be thinking of? Let's bring it to our community and then the whole, okay? Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I believe first and foremost, right, the people that are teaching the martial arts per se, right? I think first we have to be set an example first and foremost, right? We can't say we can do this, we're capable of doing this, and to me, it's all about a presence. You know, you know, it's like a person coming to the gym and you're looking for a personal trainer, and the one with the most knowledge is 500 pounds, right? Choice is you're not going to go to the person with the most knowledge that's 500 pounds, because you're going to look at him and you know, but why you not looking better than that? You got all the knowledge in the world. So as martial practitioners, we have to set a precedence. You know, I'm not talking about having a six-pack and traps and all of that type of stuff. I'm talking about character, having the character to be able to humble yourself, to know how to talk to each and every individual, right? You shouldn't come across the board one way. You know, this is how I do things. We have to be flexible in the way that we do things. We have to be flexible in the way that we carry ourselves. And again, character. You know, I ran into a woman the other night. I do my personal trainings, and some of them was at 5 in. And on my way out of the gym, this lady drove past in the truck. She said, "I thought that was you. How you doing?" She saw me because she saw me at another gym. And that just confirmed for me, you know, how to treat people, speak a certain way, you know, carry yourself with a little dignity. And I think that a lot of us as martial practitioners, some of us get caught up in the ego. You know, we get caught up in the ego of who we are, what we've accomplished, and the belt and title that we have, right? But still, at the end of the day, we're still human beings. And so I think if we start there, and that would encompass us to be able to meet somebody and say, "Hi, my name is Malik Shabazz." And you know, if they come to the dojo and they want to train with us, then they would know our title and what we should be called. But in the street, if I'm just meeting somebody, I don't say, "Hey, I'm Grandmaster Shabazz, Malik Shabazz." I don't present myself that way because I know for a fact that the tools that we were blessed to have or given can be taken away at any given time. So I think if we present ourselves with characteristics and a better humility, that would be a great start in the neighborhood, a great start, you know, and so that would be the opportune place to start in terms, particularly with the youth, because I think the youth really needs to be put in a headlock, you know, respectfully and taken under the wing. So if we could get us if I could touch one youth, then that one youth could touch somebody else. And in the expression that Doc always said, each one teach one. And I think it could start there. But you know, it's the presence and how we carry ourselves as martial practitioners that's so important to me. The belt, the title, and all of that is great. But when you take all of that off, who are you?
Yes, excellent, excellent. Now, money, masters searching for money and ignoring the needs of some of the people that don't have it. What's your thought?
When I was in the Harlem dojo teaching, there were so many individuals that came through that wasn't able to afford to train. And I never turned anyone away. You know, you could come in early and maybe clean up the dojo. My experience with us particularly is that a lot of times we'll take, and we don't want to give. And I wouldn't let that stop me from reaching out to others, because somewhere along the line, somebody that doesn't have would really appreciate, you know, you extending yourself. I remember giving tournaments, giving seminars that Mr. Lamarr Thorton is down in his dojo in the summertime. And I used to charge $5, $10. And sometimes people would say, why are you teaching for so cheap, having seminars? Because to me, I was thankful enough to have a roof over my head, food, etc. And so I believe there's a lot of people that would like to train, but couldn't afford to train. And so I never turned anybody away. And I think if you go into the position of teaching with the passion and sincerity, the money will come to you. But if you go in there and you're hungry for a dollar, One of my black belts was teaching in the park in 145th Street in, can't think of the park down there, off of Riverside. He was charging $100. I said, brother, how can you charge $100 to teach in the park? Well, you know what? I ain't gonna do it for free. I ain't gotta mention no names. I said, brother, if you're passionate about what you're doing, the money will come to you. But trying to rob somebody, you're not gonna get anywhere, and it's not gonna take you anywhere in life if that's the way you think. So I believe that we should be paid for what we've gone through, and I believe we should be paid for that, all of the knowledge that we've endured and learned throughout the years. Absolutely. I don't think that, you know, teaching for free should be something that should be done on a regular basis, but there are exceptions.
Yes, yes, excellent, excellent. In terms of what I'd like you to do is to speak a little about mentioning some of those names you've mentioned in terms of that you've had the opportunity to battle with. What makes you look up to others? Like, there are fighters that you looked at and you appreciated their battle, whether it was with you or others, you saw them. I mean, Soke, yes. I mean, just to see how he goes into it and how he does what he does. I mean, it's beautiful, and as I'm saying what I'm saying, I'm thinking about when you were describing some of the gory stuff, I started smiling because there's a pleasure in the idea of that. And everyone doesn't understand or even know if they can accept the sight of one of those things.
Yes.
And I remember, I wanted to see, things, I remember driving down, my brother, Professor Chris was in the car with me. I was driving. And as I was driving, I saw it appeared that there had been some issue. There was a police officer standing and a guy was laying on the floor. Okay. And what I did was, it looked like he may have been hit by a car because he was in the street. So I went down about a block and I pulled over and backed up and I said, I want to go and see what that looks like, because it looked like it was kind of, it was troubling. So when I walked back with my brother and looked at the situation, and this person had been hit by a car. He was laying down. Incredibly, he was conscious, but he was laying down. His foot, I'll use my hand, if you can imagine the bottom of somebody's foot, the leg is extended, but this foot that is like this was on the side of his calf muscle, but it wasn't torn off. It was still within the skin, but the foot was as though he was standing up while he was laying down. So I wanted to see how I would react to the look and the situation. And, yes. But that was because I wanted to be prepared for any other kind of situation, because we talk about, somebody ripping somebody's throat, and we talk about gouging their eyes, but shock comes from things that are not common to your view. You can be shocked by somebody striking you, but you're shocked because, shock and startled is similar. You know what I mean? So when I think about that, it made me, smile. But when you're talking about these kind of serious things, these are very, very serious. And really, it's kind of taking me to this point. When we're dealing with that kind of idea, when we're talking about being prepared already for someone coming up on you, everybody's not ready for that. Mm-hmm. So how do you prepare to get ready for something that can shock you, can, the natural thing, somebody come up behind you and now, or somebody's standing there in front of you and then just choke you. And it could be somebody
Yes.
But you're shocked and then you pause. Tell me, what are some of the things that we need to do in that kind of situation?
As you're talking, brother, I'm like you, I'm absorbing it, right? Because not everybody is prepared for it, like you said, right? So I'm gonna give you a couple examples for myself. I don't know how many times, that I'm in the house, right? It's just my wife and I, and she like I walk around, I'm coming off the stairs and I turn the corner, she's there and I'm getting ready to go, right? I'm in the gym, right? This is a funny story, right? Maybe 3 weeks ago, I'm in the gym, I'm training somebody, and as they're using the equipment, I'm squatting. And the guy comes up on me and I raise up, right? And I get up. He said, "What you gonna do, hit me?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "That's the world we live in." He said, "Well, I hit back, So I took my gloves off, right? And I showed him my hands. I said, "Not when these hit you." So it was comical. It was comical. He bust out laughing, his eyes open, and I giggled. It was fun, But in saying that, right? If someone startles you, and I teach this when I'm training, right? If someone startles you, if you do that, you're dead, yes, right? Another thing is that and this is Kajo's one of his things. We tie each other, brother. We tie each other's ankles. I tie your ankle to my ankle. And the most uncomfortable thing is most people want to push off because, hold on, let me get, but that smelling each other's breath is one of the most uncomfortable things to do. And it sort of lets you know who really got this and who really has a fight game, right? Because I've seen a lot of people that I've done it with, right? That, got the ranks, and I will never put their names out, right? They got the ranks and yeah, man. And the other day I had to, and I tied their ankles up with me, bro, and we going. And all the little girl comes out of them. And I would never embarrass them because that's not who I am. But I'm thinking to myself, you fought who? You got what?
Right.
I wouldn't want you in the street with me if something happened, because now I got to protect you and myself, So I think that preparing for something gory, would be, like you said, you would have to see that to be able to see if you can really stomach it. But I also think that of the mother that sees her little kid trapped underneath the car, and she goes over there and has that extra strength to lift him up, right? And get him from out of harm's way. And I think that if we train with visualization, I talk about this a lot, visualization in your training to the part where you get the goosebumps and your heart's racing, your mouth is dry, you get the little shapes. When you in the street and that happens to you, it won't be new. You'll know what it's like to feel that, and you'll be able to respond accordingly. But if we just come to the dojo and it's well lit and the mats are pretty, and when everybody got on the nice pajamas and stuff, and I'm hitting you from down the block, and I'm not gonna punch you in your mouth because God forbid I hit you and bust your lip or knock a tooth out. Right? That's not going to do it in the street. And I know insurance in the dojo is different, right? But I want to put on a glove, and I want you to put on a glove, right? And I give the guys, like if I'm locked in the ankle and somebody hit me in my mouth, I say thank you. I don't grandmaster or professor. No. I hit him again. Come on, we got, if I get my lip busted or my tooth is loose or cracked, I don't stop. I'm not looking to do that in exchange on a regular basis because nobody wants to go home with their face all bruised up and knees this time. But I want to take you just right there. I can remember vividly working out with Kajo, right? And because I was a leg man, I was comfortable at a distance, right? So Kajo had me in the corner of the wall, and I'm trying to ease out, so I can get the kick, try to throw a kick, and he'll throw me back in the corner, man. And not until I got comfortable with him punishing me like that, respectfully. that's abusive nowadays. not until I got comfortable with him doing that to me did I appreciate it. But it was very uncomfortable in the beginning. So I have to take the reign, if you will, from Kajo in that respect, man. I'm gonna put you in the corner. And sometimes we do 2 and 3 people. There's no way that one person is going to be able to deflect and redirect and block 2 and 3 people. There's no way. But can you take it and still give it? So I not to keep going on if I haven't already, but I think it's very imperative that while we're training, visualize. I want you to get the goosebumps. I want you to feel like, oh man, if you run, that's okay. You come back and you do it again and you do it again until you get comfortable, so that when it happens to you in the street, it won't be new. I truly believe that 99.9% of us will haul butt. If when it breaks down, we get, oh man, look at these guys. Wow, it's just like a person going to the gun range, right? And they shooting at a piece of paper. That's real cool. And the brother, I can't think of his name, from Jamaica, and he has that thing. And I remember him talking at one of your events, brother. And he says at my camp, in Jamaica, he says we got rubber bullets or whatever they use. So while you shooting at me and running, we shooting back. That changes things. That changes your accuracy, and that changes that piece of paper that changes nobody's threatening you. So your heart don't have to race, you don't have to shake. That put things in a total different perspective.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That was Captain Robert Hibbett.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
He told me that I fell out because, just the visual of, of so many people that think they sharpshooters shooting at a piece of paper. I don't care if it's down 2 blocks, but nobody's in threat. You're not under stress.
Yeah, so, man. Listen, we're going to have to do a part 2. We're going to have to get an opportunity to get back with you. I got plenty more, questions. So that, you can answer and we can talk about it. But before we go, I want you to be able to say something to, and you've said, really, I think you've said it, but many things already and enough for everybody. But is there anything that you want to say to the audience? That you want to share anything that you're doing, or where you're going to be, where you are, anything that you'd like to share about them getting in contact with you, if you like?
And what I'm doing right now, brother, I was supposed to start this Saturday coming, but weather wouldn't permit. But I have a lot of paraphernalia in where I train with. I was going to take it out to the park in Grant Park. I was going to put the invite for everybody to come, and I'm going to do that, weather permitting, where you can come for free. And I'm gonna work with everybody, not in a martial perspective, but just in, like getting your wind up. If you want to bring your weight down, if you want to help to your circulation, if you want to help with your flexibility, if you want to help, I had a girl that was I was training that was way over 200 pounds, and just the consistency of her training with me, she got off of some medications. And I think that, that to me is the most important thing, because you can have all the skills in the world, and get attacked and you die of a heart attack, yeah. Right? I think, again, taking care of our health, particularly the males and sisters as well, we got to take better care of our health. The martial arts is a beautiful thing, but we got to take care of our health. We got to take care of our health. Hypertension is running rampant. Diabetes is running rampant. And why do we need to get in that situation and then try to work out of it when we know the direction we're going, and we can take advantage of it before it gets any worse? And so that's what I'm offering. I'm offering free training to bring up and help you in those areas. If you want to do the martial training, that's something different, but I want to help you lose weight. I want to help you get off of some medication. I want to help you, build up your confidence. Those are the things that I'm going to be going forward with in the park for free, and it's open to any and everybody. And that's what I'd like to do. So if you're interested in this, for free, hit me up on Messenger. I want to provide my Atlanta area with better health. So if you're interested, please reach out to me. And thank you so much, brother, for all that you've done and all that you're doing, and for inviting me here. I appreciate that so much, brother. Really.
Man, we had a good time, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know you all enjoyed walking with the master over here. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you, brother. Love you, man.
Thank you.
And
Love
everyone,
you too,
everyone out there, thank you for joining again on this podcast. I've been getting raved reviews in terms of you appreciating the persons, the people that I've been interviewing. And the majority of them that I've been interviewing, these are my friends, these are my brothers, these are those who I care about and I love. So I appreciate everyone's great and good wishes for this podcast. Thank you. And once again, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, the official Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad YouTube channel, and come on to Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad Facebook page and all of that good stuff. I mean, you know, I got so much stuff going on. Please don't be angry with me if I don't talk to you all the time. It's just a whole lot to talk. All right, brothers, thank you, Grandmaster.
Every student of a master here today, you reflect your master teacher. You want to walk like him. You want to talk like her. But you start by having an object in front of you that you admire.